Alright guys, I'm going to make a quick video on making and installing a set of spray rails for this 1977 20 SeaCraft. We've already done a bunch of fiberglass work. Everything is starting to come together. And customer wants spray rails. We're going to make them 10 feet long out of 3/4 inch blue water Kusa. I'm going to time lapse everything, try to make this as quick but as informative as possible. All right, so pretty much here, making a template with some thick cardboard. That way I can trace the curvature onto the Kusa board. Use a regular just box knife to cut the cardboard. This is the 3/4 inch blue water 26 Kusa, and basically we're just gonna do the curvature on both port and starboard are the same, so I'm just gonna do two for each side. I like using these diamond cutting wheels for cutting the Kusa. It's like pretty quick work, and then they last forever. Straight lines usually come out of the table saw, and then I'll finish with the diamond cutting wheel. All right, guys, I didn't time lapse this because I wanted to give a quick explanation. So, like I said, these spray rails are going to be almost 10 feet long. So, in order to give strength, we'll bond the pieces with a tongue and groove. That way we get the shear and lateral strength. And we'll also countersink screws spaced out maybe 8 to 10 inches as we bond the spray rails to the hull. We'll route the edges to give a nice round, and then we'll go ahead and laminate in one piece, top and bottom, 2 layers of 1708. So here you go. We ended up going 15 inches instead of the 8 to 10. I didn't figure it needed that many screws. And here we're pretty much just, taking off all the old gel coat. So we have a nice, clean, level surface for the spray rails. I didn't video the drilling the holes and pre-fitting the spray rails, but here they are already pre-fitted, and like to just make sure everything fits good before we start bonding. All right, so here I'm just giving myself a guide for how high I want the radius on the spray rails after I start bonding. We're using a RJ4001 bonding and filling compound. You could use several products for this step here. We like this. We got some, good working life on this once it's cured. You got about 30 minutes. It was pretty hot. I don't use any exact ratio. I kind of go by the color of the compound. And here we're going to go ahead and just press in these spray rails. I like to make sure I get full coverage of the compound. Put here a dab of the RJ inside the groove, so we get a good adhesion when we put the two pieces of Kusa together.
stainless number 10 screws to kind of just hold these spray rails to the hull. This part here is pretty important here, where we just want to make sure we get that RJ spread nice and smooth. We will hit it with a sander, but it makes it a lot easier when you got it spread evenly. So when you finally hit it with a DA, you're taking off and you don't have to come back and add anymore. And here we're pretty much just building up that RJ, give us that radius. Again, more is better when it comes to this part, because you are going to be sanding a lot of it off to give that strength. So here, put it on. Again, the RJ is good working time, so you got plenty of time to work it to the shape that you want. Here's an example of our radius pre-sanding. So I didn't video the sanding of the DA. So many steps, it's kind of hard to remember to turn the camera on. But we hit this first step is with the DA, and that's going to knock down, a lot of the highs. And then here we'll use a Durablock, radius sander, and with an 80 grit. I like to use a 6-inch discs on there, so it gives me something to hold on to. And this is where you're going to get your final shape. So we take our time and kind of eyeball everything, make sure that everything is as straight as possible. The straighter you can get it, the nicer it's going to look under fiberglass, and the easier it'll be when you finally get to the fairing. So I wanted to fiberglass these in one piece, top and bottom. I'm using a 1708. I cut we got the 50-inch roll, so we kind of cut it down the middle, and I'll overlap about an inch. We're mixing the polyester resin at 1%. This day I think was like maybe 95 degrees outside, so I'm fortunate that the resin that we get has a real high tolerance for heat, so we did have some good working time. And here's the second layer. Start, one layer goes forward and the second layer will run aft, getting as many air bubbles out. We get the final piece here in the back. And then we finish the back with a 1.5 CSM mat, just to kind of cover the edges. We'll do that on all 4 corners. Here we got our bubble buster, and try to work out as many air bubbles as possible. Switch back to my 4-inch roller, just kind of press everything down afterwards.
All right, so we have the final product for the spray rails. 2 layers of 1708. Nice even radius. all the way down the line. Nice slope. Goes from underneath. There you go.
Of course, the last step is sanding everything down smooth, adding some compound and prime and paint, but that'll come at a later date. Thanks for watching.